welcome to our Crazy Life Scotland. My name's Fiona and this is part 2 of my latch hooking video. In part 1 I basically went through what you get in the kit, how to tell the different colours of wool and how to use your latch hook, how to read the paper pattern and how to read the canvas. So in this part I'm going to actually start showing you how to follow the pattern with your wool rather than just with your finger like I do. I'm going to give you some tips on where I like to start and the order I like to do things. Everybody's different. You'll find your own way of working, if you like. Now, I'm right-handed. It may be different if you're left-handed. I would think that the working of the actual tool would be the same, but the order that you do things might be slightly different. So a quick recap. This is our paper pattern. This is the one that tells us the letter which relates to the colour of wool that we're going to use. So, for example, if we were doing an H, we would look for the wool that has got H on it, which is there, and that's the colour that we would do. Now, it does say that if the paper pattern is slightly different to the canvas, follow the canvas. And I have noticed that along the bottom row, it is slightly different. So we're going to use our paper as a guide, but we're going to follow the actual colours on here. Now, when I say we're going to follow the colours, I mean that, you know, the F, if there's 20 there, but only 19 on the canvas, we'll do 19. But when I say follow the colours, we need to be careful because there is no pink in here, yet there is pink on the canvas. So the pink relates to the letter A. So we don't just say, oh, pink. Oh, wait, now I've not got a pink. I can't do this. It's not. When you look at that, you'll think, oh, what bit is that on the pattern? And you'll know what colour it is to use. This will become clear once I actually start. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do near the end of this is I'm going to try to get a little bit more advanced. I've only made 2 of these in the past. So what I am going to try to do is, I love these reindeer, but I think one of them should be Rudolph. Do you not think one of them should have a red nose? And I'm not going to go with this one because he's got the red scarf, so it would all sort of, you know, blend in together. But this one here, where this nose is, I'm going to try to make that red. So I will do that at the end of this video and we will see how it works out. Hopefully we will have enough red thread. That's the only thing. Right, so a quick recap of how the hook works in case you've not watched the first part or you've forgotten. Basically, you've got the hook here and this little hinge goes up and down. And this is what we use to pull the yarn through the holes. So it doesn't matter if it's up or down when you put it in. You put your hook, say it was this stitch we're using, you put your hook under, you put your yarn through, and then you pull it. Okay, so I will use blue. I'm actually going to leave, these are ones that I did as an example in the first part. I'm leaving them there because I'm going to use them to show you how to take stitches out if you make a mistake. So, a recap then. You wrap your wool across the top of the hook. You've got little legs here. The mouth is open, facing the same direction as the legs. You put it under the stitch you want to do. As it starts to close, bring the legs up, put his feet in his mouth and pull it through like that. I'll do one more. So we hold our hook like that. We pop our little legs over. Now you want to try to make these as equal as possible. I'll show you what happens if they're not. So if I was to start with it like that, I go under the stitch till the latch goes through, start pulling the latch down, sorry about the dogs, put the wool in his mouth and close it. Now you can see what's happened here. We've got one really long piece and one really short piece. Now if you left it like that, it would look really shabby. So that's why you want to, you can see the difference where it's been equal lengths. So you want to make them as equal as possible. Now I'm not saying get a ruler out and, you know, make sure it's exactly right. Just basically hold them together so that they feel about equal, and then do it. And what you can do, I'll show you again. So we're putting it over the top, pull them so that they're pretty much equal, put it under the stitch till the hook goes through, start pulling the hook down, put the feet in his mouth and pull it through. Now, if one of them looks slightly shorter than the other, just give it a wee pull, like that, and they will be more the same length. I like to pull each one anyway after doing it, just to tighten the stitch. And if it looks awful, like if you made a big mistake like that one there that's only got a tiny wee bit, I will show you how to fix that. Right, now I'll show you how I used to start the latch hooking. And because I'm right-handed and I've managed to get resin on this already. Oh, goodness me. Because I'm right-handed and I read left to right, top to bottom, I automatically started up here before. Now, let me show you what happens if you do that. You can, but I find it really, really awkward. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly put a few stitches in here, okay? I'm not going to follow the pattern or anything just now. I just want to show you this as an example. So I'm going to speed this part up while I put some stitches in. Right, so I've put a few stitches in here. I've not paid attention to the pattern or anything, just to give you an idea. So if we go from top to bottom and left to right, when we go to do our next row down, I find it really awkward because these legs are in the way. So you need to kind of push them out the way and then do your stitch like so. And again. So you can push the top ones out the way. However, I find that the one on the left here can sometimes get caught in the hook and it can be a right nuisance. So you need to move them out the way, and you need to be very careful not to catch any of the wool that's at that side. Because my hook's at the same side as the wool, it's very easy to catch it. However, if we do it the other way round, let's just pretend that this is the bottom right corner of our canvas. And I'll speed this bit up again just to put a few stitches in. Right, so I've put a few stitches. Remember, this is our bottom row down at the bottom right hand corner. So if I then move up to the next row and start from the right, moving to the left, it's easier because you're not having to move these legs out the way. They're out the way automatically. You put your hook in and complete your stitch. And then when you go to do your next one to the left of that, there's nothing there getting in your way either. So basically what that demonstrates is, to me, maybe not everybody, and maybe it will be different if you're left-handed, but to me, I find it easier starting, I'll get these out the way, at the bottom right-hand corner and working up the way. Now, it's up to you whether you want to do a full row at a time. What I personally do is I just do maybe 10, 15 blocks along and then move up the way. I just find it easier. Again, you'll find your own way. So let's follow the pattern down here now and we will work our way up. I'll just do to here probably, and we'll work our way up and I'll show you how we're going to know what colour to change to. So down in the right hand corner, the paper pattern tells us it's white and the actual canvas tells us it's white as well. So the letter that's in this box is F. So we then go to our wool bundles. We see the one that says F and we know that this is the colour that we're using. So again, I take a couple of strands out, but I leave the bundle beside me so that I remember what colour it is. Now, right at the edges of the cushion can be quite difficult, okay? So you just need to make sure, especially down here, because the canvas actually, if I lift this up, it overlaps on itself. You can see that it's been folded in on itself, so you could easily go under the two. I don't know if it would make that big a difference if you did, but I always just try to go through the single stitch rather than any doubles. So I'm going to start down here. I've checked my pattern. I've got the letter F yarn. I'm going to take a strand. I am going to put the yarn over the top, so we have got legs of equal size following the same direction as the mouth, and I'm going to try to get right into the corner as close as possible. So I'm going to go under here now. It's just the one strand. You don't do anything with the up and downy bits. They are just there for the structure. You always do your stitch along the horizontal one. So I'm going to put my hook under there, put the latch through it. As I start pulling that down, I put the feet in its mouth and pull. This one's slightly shorter, so I'm going to give it a wee yank under the right length. So I'll do it slowly a couple of times, not because I don't want to be condescending, but I take a wee while and I like to see things a few times. So you're going to put your hook under the stitch that you're working on, put the latch through, start pulling it back until the mouth starts to close, put his feet in his mouth and pull. Okay, I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to show you what happens. Sometimes when you go in way too far and you're like, what have I done here? That's okay. What to do if you try to pull it out because it's just the hook, it gets caught everywhere. Keep going until the latch comes through and then it will pull straight out like that. So do not worry about it. So here we go. I'm going under the stitch. The latch is closing. And again, if it closes before you're ready, that's fine. You can just use your finger to put it down again. Put your wool through and pull. Right, so I'm going to speed it up to do some of the white, just along the bottom because it's all the same colour. Right, that's far enough just now. So I'm going to start on the next row up. I'm going to come to the right and there's actually a stitch further out than that one. So I'm going to go in that one and it's still white. So I'm going to carry on with this F. But I'm going to show you a couple of things again that can happen. If you go through the canvas, because it's strands, so if you go through it like that, that's not going to look very nice. So just pull, without putting your yarn in the mouth, just pull it back through. If, when you bring your yarn up, oh my goodness, sometimes, it's not happened just now, but wait now, it happens to me quite a lot, and I want it to happen naturally, if you know what I mean, rather than forcing it, so you can see exactly what I mean. So we're going under the stitch, starting to close the mouth, pull it down. It's not going to happen, is it? We're still on the same colour. Right, I'm going to have to force it this time. So sometimes one bit of your yarn goes in the mouth and the other bit goes behind. What happens if you pull it through then, it basically just comes right out. Okay, so don't worry, if that happens, it will come right out and you can just do it again. Or if you notice before you start pulling it through, you can just tuck the other bit in, like that. Now, the other thing that can happen is, when we put it through and we bring our yarn up, if the latch goes through the wool like that, so it's actually splitting the strand, and we pull it through, that just looks an absolute mess. So try to make sure that's not happening. If it does happen, which does happen, don't worry about it. Here is where I'm going to show you how to take it out. I'm going to show you on these ones because they're proper stitches and it will be easier to take it out. So it's up to you. Take some kind of like a blunt needle. This is a plastic needle used for sewing in ends and things. But if you've got anything at all that's blunt and thin, maybe, I don't know, the end of a paintbrush, something like that. The actual stitch is a U shape. So it goes like that. Any bit of the U, so not the legs, but the face, the head if you like, pop your needle through there and just gently pull it up and it will come out. Now when I did that, I accidentally put my plastic needle through the yarn, so I'm going to dispose of that bit now because it's not very nice. So again, we've got our stitch here. Now you can either go in that way and pull. See, I've done it again. I always find that I go through the yarn if I do it that way. What I prefer to do is go underneath the stitch, so the legs are down. I lift the legs up. This sounds really wrong. I maybe shouldn't have started with a leg analogy. And this is the bottom part of the U. So it goes like that. So this bit here is the bottom part. And I find that if I take my needle from the bottom up, it comes out much cleaner, like that. So again, we go from the bottom up and it comes out. So if we go back down to the mistake we made down here, this bit of wool is going to be done anyway because it's been split. So I'm just going to put my needle through and pull it out. And you can see there it's all split. If you put that in your project, it's just going to look weird. So just bin it. You usually get plenty of each colour anyway in a kit. So you've got a little bit of room for error. I wouldn't say, you know, go do it deliberately, but yeah, if you make a mistake, that's how you do it. And the same if you accidentally put the wrong colour on the wrong stitch, you just take out exactly the same way. So I'm going to carry on here. This is another white one. Another white one. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. We've got another two white ones. One. Two. Now we can see the next 1, 2, 3 stitches are a different colour. Now they look blue, but remember, don't trust the colour that's on here. Come to your paper pattern. And we're down here, so we've done these white ones, so it's a T that we're going on to next. So there is our letter T, and that's the colour that we need. So I'm going to take a few of these out. And again, we can put this away now because we're going to follow the colours on the actual pattern. So it's a change of colour, but there's absolutely nothing else different. You still wrap it over the top till his wee legs are dangling. Put the hook through, start pulling the latch through, put his feet in his mouth and pull. Do it again. There we go. Now, we would just carry on doing that all the way up there. What I will say is, you might want to do a whole block of the same colour. So now that you've started the T, you might think, oh, I might just go on and do all the T's. So you could have a look and say, right, okay, I want another one there, and then this one's going up, and then I'm going along there, and you can do it that way, not a problem. One thing I will say is still keep an eye on the pattern, because that colour there is actually a different colour yarn to that one there. but looking at them, there's only a very, very slight change in the colour. So you could easily just get carried away watching the telly and use T for that, where in fact it should be V. So that's one thing that you do need to be careful of if you're doing that. The other thing that people quite often do is, if you've got a big area of like the same colour, they might sort of outline that area and then just fill it in watching the telly. They don't need to pay attention to the pattern or anything, because they know that that whole block is going to be the same colour. You can do it that way if you want. Now, let's say you think, oh, I'm getting bored doing that colour, I want to do his antlers. Then you can. There's nothing to say you can't. It's just it might make it a wee bit more awkward when you come to do the stitches round it. But you would basically have a look and say, right, up here, so it's the same sort of colour. I would just double check. Yep, it's the letter, it's the letter L for everything that's that colour. So you would take a letter L, and again, you can start at the bottom and do all the way around, or let me show you what I meant by doing the outline. So I'm going to speed this up and do the outline of it, and then I'll come back to you. So I have just completed every yellow stitch round the outside of the antlers, and if I put the wee legs up, you can see that there's quite a few stitches being missed, but I know that all those missed stitches are going to be yellow. So I can just go in, I can be watching the telly, I can be chatting to the kids, I could be doing anything at all, and I know that all of these stitches are going to be yellow. So that's quite a good way of not having to think about it. If you concentrate doing the outline, you then don't need to think about it when you're filling it in. Now, the other thing that I was thinking about with this is the letter F. The white is dotted quite a bit through the sky and the scarf and everything. I think I would be tempted to go and fill out all of those F's. So I would be having a look on my canvas. I'd be saying, right, there's a white one there and a white one there and a white one there, and I think I might go and fill all them out, so that when it comes to doing the sky, I can just do the blue without actually thinking about it. So I'll probably do that. Now, something a bit more advanced that I've not actually tried. I want this reindeer's nose to be red, because I think we need to have a Rudolph, and I'm not sure. We get two different reds in here for the scarf, and to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to have enough to do the scarf and the nose, but I'm going to try it. And if not, I can take those stitches out, use them over here, and then I've got red yarn of my own that I can cut to size and use. But just now, I'm going to try using this, and I'm going to go for the brighter one rather than the darker one, I think. I'm not doing this nose because it would blend into the scarf. I'm going to do it against the green one. So let's have a look at how I would do that. So we know from the paper pattern that we've got the letter E going round in a nose shape. I'm going to, you end up with bits of wool everywhere. Turn this over, and here are my black bits on the canvas. That's going to be my nose. So there are some white bits in there. I need to be careful not to do them, but let's just see what it's like giving him a red nose. Again, I'll speed it up for you, come back to you once it's done. Right, so for this nose part only, I know that all of the black lines I'm doing red, but I'm coming up to a couple of white lines here. So I thought I would just come back on and say you can do one of two things. So I'll just fill this red in. Right, so here my black line goes white, and I have a look, it's the letter F. So I have a choice. I can either ignore those bits just now and just carry on doing the red. So I would skip the next 2 stitches. And then carry on with the red as normal. So you can see I've skipped those 2 white stitches there, and I'm just carrying on, and I can go back and fill them in when I've finished doing the red, or the alternative is I'm coming up to another couple of white stitches. So I've got 2 white stitches there, just do them. If you've got the other colour to hand, just do it, it's much easier. And then you would carry on with your red again. Right, so that is all the red done, but I need to remember that I left the white stitches, and I need to try and find them. There they are. So yeah, you absolutely can do it this way. The only reason I would tend to do it this way is if I only had the red on me and I didn't have the white to hand, because it is a bit awkward going back in, trying to find the spaces, trying not to get other bits caught. It's much easier just to change the colour as you see it. Like that. So Rudolph now has a red nose, and this reindeer will have a black nose, and I'll keep everything else the same. I just wanted to have a wee Rudolph there, that's all. Now, where you can see the black bits, don't worry about that. Once the rest of it's filled in, you won't see any of the coloured lines. If we look back at my fox, you know, you can't see where any of the coloured lines are. If you were to move the bits of wool, you might see them, but other than that, you won't. Isn't he gorgeous? I love him. So, I believe that should be everything that you need to know about latch hooking. You will now be able to get yourself a kit and do it, hopefully. Like I said, I will link this one in the description below. I can't link my fox one because I've got no idea where I got it from. It might have been eBay, but Amazon, eBay and Temu are the main places that I'm looking at. I've not tried a Temu one yet, but I will buy one and try it just to see if there's any difference between them. I think they're maybe about between £5 and £8 cheaper on Temu, so it's worth it if it's decent quality. So that should be everything. What I'm going to do is I will make a third part. Sorry if you can hear my dog whining, she wants her breakfast. I will make a third part to this video in a few weeks once I've completed the cushion. I'll let you see what it looks like completed. I'll let you know if there was any areas that I wasn't sure of or had to do something a little bit different. Molly, I'll feed you in a minute. And I'll talk to you a bit about the storage and things in that video as well, about how I store my yarn once I start a kit. So I'll talk about all of that in the third video, which will probably be, I would imagine it will take me a good couple of weeks to get this finished, because I won't be working on it constantly. So hopefully you have found this useful. If so, please hit the thumbs up button. Do feel free to share it with anybody that you think might find it useful, anybody that's thinking about starting this and doesn't know where to start. In the future, I would quite like to try to make my own, just buy the latch hooking canvas and make my own pattern, but that's a wee bit in the future yet. Please talk to me in the comments below if you've got any questions. If there's anything that I've not made clear, please just ask. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I've probably asked them all myself as well. So I will always answer your comment as long as YouTube shows me it. And also, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, and that'll let you know anytime I upload any video, but especially the next one that I upload of this, if you want to see what this looks like when it's finished. Right, I'm going to head off and carry on with this now. I'll see you later. Bye!